FM and AM 1160. And he is Indiana Borough Police Chief Justin Schawl joining us in the studio. Our conversation is brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's good to have you with us here today.
It is always good to be here with you.
Pretty momentous night last night, wasn't it, at Indiana Borough Council?
It was. It was. There was plenty of activity, all positive movement, and so it was a joy to watch.
Yeah. And you get to work with the new mayor, and Mayor Simmons. Guy's been around a little bit, hasn't he? He knows his stuff.
He has been around. He certainly knows his stuff, and I've been blessed to work with three mayors during my career. Of course, George Hood through most of my career, and then Mayor Tremarkey throughout the last year, and now Mayor Simmons. And I've enjoyed every experience. They have all been really, truly wonderful people with the heart towards everything Indiana. And I'm certain that Mayor Simmons will be no different and will be a supporter of the police department and all things Indiana.
Absolutely. By the way, you can watch our video here on our Facebook page here this morning with Chief Schawl. You get to the end of one year and move on into the next, and I'm sure that you do some review of what has happened in the last 12 months, and it can be statistical or there can be other measures that you use. What are some of the things that you think about when you reflect back on 2021?
Well, success can present itself in many different ways. I think that if first and foremost, if our community feels that they're safe, if they feel that they're comfortable in Indiana Borough, if they feel that their police department is serving them well in all aspects, then certainly I think that we're achieving a level of success. As chief of police, if I'm able to keep our officers safe, if I'm able to keep our community members safe, focus on wellness, professional growth, personal growth for not only myself, but for others within the department and in the community, in the borough, that's a level of success. The fact that we can suppress violent crime is a success. I wish that I could assure everyone. I've said this since the inception or since my tenure began, but I wish I could assure everyone that there would never be tragedy or strife. But all I can do is assure everyone that you'll have my best effort, and I certainly know that everyone will have the best effort of the police department in taking steps necessary to prevent as much negative as we can. So I'm focused, and I've always been focused on positive impacts. The police department's mission is to enhance the quality of life of our citizens. And so some things are a bit intangible, but of course we can do a statistical analysis also. So everything's important, and so I'm committed to continuing best paths for community success. And I truly believe that from a police department perspective, from a community policing perspective, that our ability to be flexible is our greatest advantage for the community. Because we need to be an organization that's flexible to meet all needs. And we've seen in the past 2 years significant need for flexibility. Traditional problems still exist, but we had an influx of non-traditional issues. COVID still remains. Public health, public safety, mental health, these are all important things. So I'm proud of a lot of things we did in 2021. My statistical analysis of the year isn't ready yet. It will be, and certainly will be made public. But from a perspective point of view, from a success rate, from a community safety perspective, I think that we've achieved a lot this year.
One thing that we don't talk about a lot is the introduction of new police officers to the force, which happens in any calendar year, probably in your business, maybe 4 or 5 times in the course of a typical year. And getting those officers up to speed with how things are done within the department and how you expect them to relate to people within the community. And I'm sure that's an ongoing process for you as well, is it not?
It is an ongoing process. We are building employees for a 25-year career, and there's a significant training process. You don't just walk into a community one day and say, okay, I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be in this profession, and assume that you know the community, assume that you know the community's needs, assume that you understand how police service works. So at the Indiana Borough Police Department, we have anywhere between a 15 to 17 week field training program. There's a police academy that's a minimum of 6 months that a new recruit would have to go to, and then it's acclimating yourself to town, to knowing the businesses. The more and better relationships that any police officer can build with the community in which they're policing leads to greater successes.
Mm.
So, we want to break down barriers of fear, the community and police officers. But we have currently at the police department, we did have an officer start yesterday, as a matter of fact, to fill a vacancy that's long existed in the police department. His name is Trent Ream. He's an Indiana native. He's going to be great for the Indiana Borough community. And we have two officers currently in the we have one officer currently in the field training program, which is a process who was hired at the beginning of October. So it is a process.
Yeah.
It's an extensive one, but officers, no matter how long you've been in the police service profession, you're always learning. You're always training. There's never a stop. As a matter of fact, we're increasing training so that we can better serve. So it's a career-long pursuit of training and best practices.
Do you mentor? Do you pair them up with people who can mentor them, or at least with veterans who've been around a while and can show them some of the ins and outs?
Sure. So the field training program is quite regimented. So there are certain certifications that you have to achieve before you can even be qualified to train an officer. And then after that, you're paired up as far as skill set goes and department need. Sometimes we have multiple officers in the field training program at one time. The Indiana Borough, though, is blessed. We have very low turnover, and we've had some retirements, and we will have some retirements upcoming that are going to significantly impact the department and the Borough of Indiana just by the institutional knowledge that will be lost, the great efforts that will be lost. Detective John Scherf is the next officer set to retire from the police department. He's had an incredible career, well known in the community. He's been terrific asset. So these are things that you can't easily replace, but our police service effort continues, and so we always need to be moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And boy, he's going to be a big loss.
Yep.
Replacing that guy. You talk about knowing the ins and outs. That's certainly a gentleman who does that. As you get into the brand new year, then I'm sure that you set personal goals for you as the police chief, just as you do departmental goals. And I don't know that you want to share the personal goals, but in terms of the department, where would you like to see the department go in this coming year?
So truly my personal goals are also my professional goals, and that's number one, officer safety, first and foremost. So I want to continue everything that we can do to drive and increase officer safety, community safety, of course, both personal and professional, because all of us have a vested interest in the community, and my family lives in the community, and our families all live in the community or visit the community or shop in the community, and so everyone wants to be safe. So increasing peace, safety, and comfort in the community is important. Focusing on preventing or decreasing the really negative impacts that could face our community or have faced other communities is important to me. Upgrading technology in the new year is always important. It was important last year and the year before. It's always going to be important because the better technology that we have, the more prepared we can be, the better equipped we can be to handle the challenges and to be flexible. So I want to continue that. Organizational success is both personal and professional. And so really focusing again on positive impacts in 2022, on supporting and protecting special events, gatherings that may occur in Indiana Borough, keeping our community supported, keeping our officers safe, continuing to develop our our officer wellness program, and continuing to build relationships and maintain the relationships that are important for everyone's success is what I'm going to be committed to again.
And maybe better treats so the dog will like you more.
That's true, but we've had no problem with the dog liking people or liking us. So Axel's been a great asset. We're going to continue. We're going to continue to use him on patrol where we can plug in positively, and so very proud of a lot of the efforts that we've undertaken and that we're going to continue to take throughout the year. I think Indiana County and Indiana Borough are well positioned to have success in 2022. Certainly appreciate all of our partners. I know a police effort is robust. There's the IEP Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, the Pennsylvania State Police, Clymer, Homer City, Blairsville. We all play a part in everyone's safety and success, and just really pleased to be able to plug in with everybody. I'm grateful that they're willing to plug in with us for everyone's success.
Talking with Indiana Borough Police Chief Justin Schawl this morning, of course, ongoing training in the actual skills of being a police officer. That's an important part of what you do and what the officers do through the course of a year as well. But you mentioned a couple of moments ago the mental health of the officers. Let's face it, police officers deal with some pretty scary stuff, and with some pretty gruesome stuff from time to time. You hate to have to deal with them, but you know that you do, and they're willing to step in and to do those sorts of things. But I'm sure you take a special effort to care for them when they have been exposed to something like that, and whether they're showing signs that they need help or not, you make sure they get it.
Yeah, well, I certainly try my best, and we try our best as an organization to support the officers that all our officers all the time. But certainly, if special needs arise, if there's events that are extreme, which we do deal with, extreme risk tolerance to a police officer is different than risk tolerance to someone else, a risk tolerance level, I'm certain. And officers are faced every day with challenges, with extremes, with dangers, with stress. And so just trying to keep up with everyone, trying to make sure that everyone understands that there is a place to go to talk, that everybody's supporting each other, that we're not, pushing each other too hard or too far in directions where may not be appropriate to go in the moment. And then talking through the events, talking through use of force incidents, talking through tragedy, talking through our responses to significant incidents. Those are all important because until we fully understand, until we have a chance to talk about what happened in those moments, things remain a bit unresolved, and we don't want to just walk past a situation of importance, and so we do risk though underestimating at times in the police profession because everything we do has impact. So sometimes it's very difficult to tell what an officer considers to be a significant event because what's significant to some may not be significant to others. So it's just an openness and a willingness to talk about it and put things in place for an officer wellness program, which, we're certainly trying to do.
And of course, officers are trained to control their emotions in those situations, so that can work in the adverse for them when they have a situation. The training kicks in, and maybe they bottle some stuff up inside that needs to be vented out in some way.
Yeah, I think, everything's important. And this is the stress of the job of a police officer. This is the stress that I feel as chief of police. There's nothing that we do during the day that doesn't impact someone else. There's nothing that gets done during a day that doesn't have a chance to either improve a situation, depending on which side of the situation that you're on, or, sometimes the positive requires a negative. It can't all be positive for everyone. So we need to be in best paths for everyone's success. We need to be considerate and caring of each other. And I recognize it's not easy. Sometimes when I'm out on calls, I realize how complex they are. I sometimes forget that behind my own desk, how complex the job is. And you walk into a scenario that you're thinking, my goodness, what am I going to do here? Let me think through this. What are the dangers that are presented? And then officers are doing this every call, every day.
There's a path through it. Just got to find the right one.
That's it.
Chief, thanks so much for coming to visit with us. Appreciate it. Wish you the best in 2022.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160.